Well, Happy New Year, John. It's 2020.
Happy New Year, Andrew.
I feel like Barbara Walters should show up.
And I'm Barbara Walters, and this is 2020.
I'd say this is 2020, but people have already done that. So the videos we've been putting up, we want to thank everybody for watching those.
60 seconds you need to know before you go. Coffee machine at work right now. That's the good news.
How you like the emojis I've been putting in there?
Like the emojis.
Yeah.
I know people like the videos. We try to put one up every morning, like a workout video or a travel video.
That gets you motivated.
Yeah.
Get you to the gym.
Because Andrew and I are up way before the sun gets up. So,
I think other people are actually going to the gym because they see the video and they feel like
there you go. So
home.
we should be getting paid by
Well,
Peloton.
it's like a free, it's like a
Planet Fitness.
We're better than Peloton. What do you think of Peloton, by the way?
I like Planet Fitness better.
I meant the stock-wise.
Oh, stock-wise, I mean, it's part of a big private equity holding of a bunch of
I saw an ad for like the watch.
None at all.
Pump those arms. Drive those knees. Today's run makes you a champion.
Like it says, keep running, you slug. You know, it's not like you don't need a Peloton. Like they have like other things.
Oh yeah, they have the mirror too, the Peloton mirror. Literally, Andrew, you're joining a class, and it's like right out of Maleficent or something.
Oh yeah, on the bike.
There's a mirror. Well, but there's a mirror not for when you're on the bike, for when you just want to do workouts like, for instance, a yoga workout, downward dog, or any of that stuff, stretching. You're joining a class on the mirror. It's the craziest thing. But,
virtual working out.
It's reoccurring revenue. And they're all about subscriptions and reoccurring revenue. Right. So are they really a tech company? Are they really an apparel company? But, you put all together all the different pieces of Peloton, and it might make sense for some people. As an investment, it hasn't made sense for me to be in there yet.
All right. Let's, before.
By the way, those videos, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, we're hitting them with 5 different areas.
Yeah, and they're only a minute long. And if you watch them and you get it, I've been putting up that little alien head.
Yeah.
For Mark Zuckerberg. But then I decided maybe Goldman Sachs should have the alien head. But we're going to get to these stocks in just a minute.
Yeah, we got
Citibank.
Got them all right here.
But what everybody says, this is also being recorded in the first month of 2020, which is January. And it seems like everybody's got an opinion on Iran. Mm-hmm. And without getting political, which is really easy. How do you trade it?
Right.
How do you trade the market that you're given? Not the market you want, not the market, oh, well, this is going to end in World War III. Okay, then throw your money at that. Okay.
Yeah.
Throw
if it's going to end in World War III, then
oil.
You might as well just blow it all right now, folks. Blow it all. Just go out, live for the moment, blow it all.
Now you're talking.
Because who you going to cash in the checks? Yeah. Even if you're long puts, who are you going to cash in from?
That's the extreme
if
binary.
It's World War III.
That's the extreme binary trade.
Yeah.
But let's just say you're normal and you're at home and you actually have money and you want to kind of shepherd it correctly. How would you trade the Iran deal?
All right.
Number
one, just as we saw, Andrew, when Iran sent a bunch of drones into the Saudi facility, Aramco, in September. That was over the weekend, folks. It occurred over the weekend when crude was not trading. So we knew we'd see a big pop out of crude for a whole bunch of reasons. Number one, Iran and Saudi don't get along. And the fact that they sent these drones in to destroy a facility and potentially take 7 million barrels a day off the market, that's a big deal. However, we saw a 20% pop when we finally went back to trading crude on Sunday night, Monday morning in some parts of the world. When we saw that, we immediately said, hands out. If you can see my palms, folks, we're selling. We said, hands out, sell them. Some people, because I was on CNBC that next day, Andrew, some people were saying, no, you got to buy them.
There's an emoji for both of those. I think there's a hand emoji out and a hand emoji in, so I have to use those.
Some people said, buy them. We said, no. Turned out we were right. We gave up 10% like that. And 10%, so in other words, we popped 20%. All of a sudden, by the time you were up, folks, we were only up 10%. And 2 weeks later, we were under the price that we were before the attacks started. And that was, Andrew, ahead of the big Vienna OPEC meetings and all that kind of stuff. So the fact that we couldn't hold on to anything of that gain told you a lot about how much crude is actually sloshing around out there.
So if oil's like go long oil, probably not. If
Right.
you have oil,
Right.
don't sell your Exxon.
Because we finally knew how many times, Andrew, because I mean, you were working in Texas at the time.
Oh, yeah.
How many times in the 70s, 80s did we hear, oh man, you know, if Iran pulls something and the Straits of Hormuz close or they attack a Saudi facility, man, crude oil will be 150. I
Yeah.
mean, over and over again, we heard that. Couldn't hold 60s.
It reminds me of Fisher when he does our events. Mark Fisher's one of the guys that shows up,
Good man.
thankfully and graciously, to our Market Rebel events. Last time
My
in
thinking
Vegas.
is, if something goes against you, but you can get out, you know, down 1%, down 2%, I don't want to get out. On the other hand,
He's very keen with the oil markets, and he has a good pulse. And what is he? You talked to him? Was
Yeah, and he said both hands out, sold.
Very interesting how he does. As a matter of fact, I have a video of him online talking about this. If you go to the YouTube site, from it's like I don't know 4 or 5 months ago, but he's usually spot on.
Oh yeah, well he's one of my mentors in crude oil and energy in general, natural gas, liquefied natural gas, LNG, all that kind of stuff. And he said, hands out, sell them. Then we get this thing, Andrew. A week ago to today, that's how long it's been. A week ago today,
It's like millennia.
we have the United States take out this terrorist who happened to be a general in the Iranian army. Well, not the Iranian army, really, an offshoot of the Iranian
Sure,
army.
everybody knows the story.
And he was basically behind killing 600 or more Americans, tens of thousands of Syrians and Iraqis, and they were celebrating in Baghdad when this dude got taken out by our drone. They were celebrating. Not in Iran. Iran, they were crying and so forth, weeping because they viewed him as a war hero. But in Baghdad, they knew this dude was a terrorist. We knew he was a terrorist. Several presidents since 1979 have known that this guy's on the radar for being a bad dude. And we took him out. So you would have expected maybe that we'd see a significant pop in crude oil, right? We saw a little bit of pop, little tiny pop out of crude oil, and then they just sold it. In fact, today, folks, we saw an 8 handle. That means $58 a share, rather per barrel, not a share, per barrel for crude oil. And we saw that after we'd popped into the 60s on the assassination of Soleimani, this general that we're talking about. So that told you a lot, again, about how much can be brought online, how much Saudi, who of course, even though they want the price of crude oil up, they don't want to give Iran anything. So the fact that Iran and Iranian interests don't align with Saudi is something you need to pay attention to all the time. And one of the things, Andrew, that sadly happened after we took Soleimani out and Iran said, we're going to do something back, we're going to retaliate. Well, they tried, their missiles fell short, knock on wood, no Americans, contractors, or servicemen or women were killed or injured in those attacks. But what did happen was a plane took off from Tehran International Airport. That's in Iran.
That was a huge tell.
Yep.
Forget the whole bodies and the whole back and forth with that. What it meant is
they're a paper tiger.
Yeah.
They can't do. Could they do a fast boat attack? Meaning, could they have some, crazy Zodiac kind of inflatable boats with guys with rocket launchers on them, and/or suicide squads with who knows, torpedoes or something on those attacks?
We thought it was a plane.
Yeah.
Who pressed the button?
Exactly. Their air defense in Iran has to be like this, folks.
Or even
in
the
modern
communication between the guy in charge and the one that's not in charge. And the airport where it took off from is so far away from everything else. Anyway.
We talked to a friend who is with the Marine Corps, and he's in the aviation wing of the Marine Corps. Now, a lot of you folks that know this know that commercial planes have a transponder that is pinging at all times as it's flying. Now, sometimes they're in a dark spot like MH17, that Malaysian airliner that went missing, and
Still missing.
they figure it probably dived into the ocean. Nonetheless, they are pinging while they're flying. They're pinging for a reason. They light up the tail so that you can see what the heck it is. Bombers don't do that. Fighter jets don't do that. They also don't ping, because then you could track them, you could see them on radar already, and if it's not a stealth, that is, and you could take them out.
It's all very sad.
Yeah, it's a huge sad thing because 176 people died.
So
Crew, and I guess like 50 or more were Canadian, the rest were Iranian.
to trade this, don't believe everything you read. And oil.
We always hear these things about, oh well, the special guard units of their service members, who are probably very brave men and women in the service of Iran or Iraq or wherever, even Syria. Yeah, they probably are. But do they have the most modern equipment? Do they know how to use it? The answers are, at least for Iran, no, they do not. You don't shoot down a Boeing aircraft that just took off from your airport and is 8,000 feet up. You don't take it out with 2 missiles, which is what they did. So that told you a lot about, and it told their people, I think, Andrew, a lot about how safe are we if we go to war with America or with Israel. And that's why they weren't dancing on those flags. When they painted those flags down and they said, go, death to America, death to America. And all those students and things said, I don't think so, because you guys are supposed to be the guys protecting us, and you can't protect us if you're shooting down our own aircraft. And turns out you lied to us for better than 3 or 4 days. You said that it was a malfunction. Turns out that US, Canada, Australia, a bunch of people that saw it said, no, that's a missile strike. Missile took that thing down.
And if you're trading this another way, leave a message in the comments. You can, there's a two-sided market for everything.
Yeah.
If you're going to be long oil and you have a reason for it, by all means, join the conversation. Moving on.
Yep.
Since we're talking about unusual activity,
Yep.
which we're going to have one good one here at the
We'll
end.
have a big unusual activity for you.
Let's just do China, since we're talking about geopolitical stuff, and we'll go real quick on this. We're FXI is the symbol. What are you saying, and what does it mean?
June 47 calls, folks, in FXI. FXI is a China ETF, just like Andrew said. So it's an ETF that covers a lot of their big cap stocks in China. We've seen unusual activity in the past that has worked out. I've told you on CNBC as well as on our blogs. That's marketrebellion.com. We've said, you know what? KWeb, which is internet stocks. That's sort of like a spider for China.
KWeb?
KWeb, K-W-E-B.
Like K-pop?
Just like K-pop, except KWeb.
K-pop.
KWeb is an ETF that was created to track the internet stocks of China, the biggest ones in China, whether it's Tencent, Baidu, Alibaba, those kinds of stocks. A whole bunch of others, but anything that's basically an internet-related play in China is like in that column, that sector, and we call that, in the United States, as part of the S&P 500, this would be a spider. So if we want to view that as a spider within the broader Chinese economy, this is just internet, that's KWeb, but FXI covers the whole thing. That's like our S&P 500. So we see buying at the 47 strike, Andrew, calls for June. That's a bet, of course, that things get better between now and June. It could also be that people want coverage out into the future while it's cheap, ahead of the signing of this truce and of the rollback of tariffs and or elimination of tariffs in some cases for parts of what we're doing right now with China.
Okay.
That happens Wednesday this week.
Okay, moving on from the geopolitical stuff, because you could talk about this all day. We have love comments. We love when people talk to us via Twitter, whatever it is, because, it's social media clout. You got to love these sort of things. One of our people said, John, Dr. J, I'm thinking about investing in a Tesla. This was like 3 days ago.
Yeah.
And me personally, when I see a comment like this, I'm like, no, get out. And no offense, we love you, but it was kind of like an itching. Like after I opened that comment, because I can read yours, I was like, it did go down.
Yeah.
But now it's back up.
$40 higher today.
So what are we in? What does this mean? I mean, tell us the real tell us what's really going on.
All right.
For our investors out here.
So, one of our guys over on the wealth management team did a deep dive on Tesla.
Okay.
Did it over a year ago, almost 2 years ago now. Convinced me that I should own Tesla.
Is that skinny?
That was Todd.
Todd, yeah,
Todd
Todd's
Rarup. So Todd, who used to be a big muckety-muck at Citigroup, and now he's out in Aspen, Colorado.
He's
running.
really good.
Yeah, he's good. He's a good skier too.
In Colorado.
He was telling me, you know what, John? You look at how much General Motors makes, even on their highest profit item, which would be an SUV.
Oh, yeah, I remember this conversation.
You look at, like an Escalade, GM Escalade, Cadillac. You look at that, that's their biggest ticket item, folks. That's where they make the most per sale. The problem is they've got a dealer network. The dealer network takes their scrape off of that. Then they've got the pensions that they have to pay for all these people. I'm not saying they shouldn't be paying those pensions, not at all.
But they have pensions.
But guess what Tesla doesn't have? Tesla doesn't have legacies that they have to pay these pension obligations for years and years and years. Tesla does not have that. Tesla also does not have a dealer network. Why? Because you buy it online.
Or,
I mean, literally.
Or off Rush Street.
Yeah. Or you can wander into a showroom, but what you're doing with Tesla is instead of giving a big part of that profit margin away to a dealer network, who then is basically out there for the repairs and everything else, Tesla doesn't do that. By the way, Tesla sends you your updates via the web. They're sending you your updates for the car via the web.
I heard one time that I don't know if this is true. You buy a car and they'll just like send it to you like through autopilot. I know that's not happening. I mean, obviously they'll deliver the car, but they said there'll be a day when you just like order it like a Amazon delivery and like this Tesla pulls up in front of your house. I mean, I could see that. Like,
oh, it's coming.
No, well,
not
maybe
this year,
not.
but at some point it'll come.
I think I'll order a Tesla, and it's like, or maybe even a rental Tesla, where you get your own, or I don't know, just
lots of reasons to be excited
future.
About the stock.
Like the future.
Yeah.
There was actually some cool stuff. Actually, BMW did something at CES out in Vegas.
Yep.
Where they were just like pods. I think Segway had a pod, and then all the overweight people got offended by it, whatever. But I think BMW had a chair. This is what virtual traveling will look like in the future. It was kind of like, it looked like a lounge chair. What'd you think?
Tesla, by the way, though, just real quick.
Yeah.
So we had unusual activity in Tesla way back July of last year, August of last year, when the stock was $1.80. Stock today hit $530, I think, $530 a share.
Ouch.
I mean, oh my God, folks. The turnover was 16 million shares by noon. 16 million shares by noon. 10 million is normal for a full session. So not only are people excited, OPCO moved their target up from $359 to $612 a share. I mean, oh my God. This stock is a juggernaut. It's got all these shorts and it's just been crippling them. Now, have I taken profits? Yes. So am I still in some call spreads in Tesla? Yes. But I've taken off all of my stock. Still believe in you, Elon, but I'm now in the calls because, I want to limit my risk. The stock is up so much. I mean, think of that, folks, from 180 to $530 a share in 6 months. That's an amazing run. That's why I had to rebalance and take my percentage down of ownership of Tesla.
Okay. To tie this up now, because we don't want to be the podcast, overstayers. At Market Rebellion, we put up posts every day, lots of them, and there's a bunch over there, folks, if you want to go look. One pick from there that stands out.
All right.
That you, if you had to give one, if we were at a cocktail party and I said, hey, John, what exactly is market rebellion? And then you say, well, I'll tell you what we've been saying. And what stock would you want?
All right. I got one today.
One.
And it's one that I haven't owned until today, because famously, when we talk about them on CNBC, I talk about, I love Jamie Dimon, I love JP Morgan, owned it last year, don't own it now. Really, the only one I own is US Bancorp, USB, until today.
What is it?
Today, I see strong buying of June 8750 calls in Citigroup, symbol C. So that's bullish call buying, 8750. That's with the stock under 80. So these are June 8750 calls. So what that means?
$7 out of the money, right?
$7 out of the money, 6 months out into the future. So it's another reason I like the play, because
It
we
doesn't
all
seem
know.
unreasonable.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like a bet, but it's out there.
they were paying $1.50 for these calls, folks.
About right.
So you pay $1.50. So what does that mean? Options, every option's for 100 shares of stock. So if you've never traded options and you haven't bought our book, which, by the way, where is it?
Look, a copy of your
Look,
book.
a copy of the book right there. If you haven't bought this book,
Shameless
A, you should.
Here, let me have a copy.
Okay, there you go. A, you should buy it. B, every option's for 100 shares of stock unless there's some weirdo split that went on. So what it means is that $1.50 is actually $150. Why is that, John? You just take that decimal point, move it over 2 places, because that option is now $150 per option. So 10 of them would cost you $1,500. $1,500 controls 1,000 shares of Citigroup between now and June expiration. So think of that, folks. Stock's just under $80 a share. 1,000 shares of it is $80,000. I know you can do the math, or you wouldn't be watching our video. So $80,000 versus $1,500. For $1,500, I can control the upside of Citi from now, which is the 13th of January, until the third Friday in June. That's why I like the trade so much, Andrew. A lot of time to be right. And it's a stock I believe in, a stock that I think goes higher. Goldman got a nice upgrade. On a podcast later this week, we'll talk deeper about Goldman, because there's a lot to both like and to be watching as far as what they need to do to make Goldman outperform instead of underperform this year.
So if we talk about Goldman, I can use my alien head
You can use the alien head.
emoji
Yeah.
on the top. Okay, so we're going to end it there. Thanks for coming by,
Yeah.
listening,
Tell your
watching.
friends about the podcast. Check out the videos. Again, Instagram, the Dr. J.
all
Twitter,
there.
John Najarian. LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. You can get them on all of it, folks.
The only thing we're not on is TikTok.
Yeah, well, that's because I don't want the Chinese hacking all my data.
Oh, is that what they do?
Oh, it's Chinese app. I'm telling you.